All right.
All right, so this is part
To your
two.
room.
We are on Treylon Burks
Go
right
to your
now
room.
for the Tennessee Titans.
Go.
The number one receiver, pretty much off the bat going there. I like it. I think he sees 130 targets easily. Yeah, what else do you guys think about Burks? Just finishing up talking about Burks here.
So as I was saying, Burks to Tennessee, he replaces AJ Brown. He's the comp to AJ Brown. I like the situation just from a stability at quarterback standpoint. I'm going to keep talking about it, but it matters. So the stability at quarterback, Ryan Tannehill is not the greatest quarterback, but he's a stable quarterback, and that means something to me. So I'm going to take the stability at quarterback and say it's a good situation. Bagala brought up a pretty good point in terms of you got him opposite Robert Woods. How much pressure is that going to take off of him? We don't know. They're going to run the ball first and second option is to run the ball with Henry. So I could see him being productive. As long as he stays on the field, I think he'll be fine. You know, that's the AJ Brown comparison. And really the only thing is he going to stay on the field? If he could stay healthy, the production should be there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. If he could stay healthy, the production will be there. He's a big physical guy. He's gonna and he has really good speed for a big guy like that. And it all depends on, Tannehill fell off last year a little bit, and he kind of looks like he's starting to early in his Tennessee tender. He elevated his game. He's starting to come back to earth a little bit, Tannehill. And I don't think you want Tannehill throwing the ball 35, 40 times a game. And they're not good. That's not their team. That's not what they want to do. So he stays healthy and he gets good quarterback play from Tannehill. He's in the best situation to produce right now.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah, who knows how long Tannehill will last over there.
He is getting up there in age.
But they did pick up Malik Willis tonight.
So we'll see what they did, or you said they're gonna.
They did.
They did.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. So again, we're recording this as the second? What is it? Second and third round?
Fifth round now.
So we're in the fifth round.
Fourth round.
Fourth round.
No, I think it was only this. It's only the second and third tonight, and then 4 through 7 is tomorrow night.
Okay.
So they picked him up in the thirds. Yeah, we're talking about this. I didn't even look at that yet. But okay. But even still, Burks is still the number one there. So I don't really care who's the quarterback at the moment. I mean, he's gonna be the guy that gets targets there. So I mean, dynasty wise, I don't think anybody cares about Robert Woods for dynasty purposes. But
no. No.
A couple of years ago, maybe.
But then going on to the next guy, well, that's it for the receivers. But Kenny Pickett to the Steelers. Okay, obviously Trubisky is there. But what do you guys think about Pickett going to the Steelers hometown there?
He's the most NFL ready quarterback to come out of this draft class. Trubisky's better have his shit in order because Kenny Pickett can come in and he can play right now.
This is not a family show, Bagala. This is not a family show.
I'm sorry. Yeah. But he better have his stuff together because Kenny Pickett can come in and play right now. And if Mitchell Trubisky, it doesn't matter how much they paid him, Mike Tomlin's going to play the best quarterback that gives him a chance to win. You understand? And Pickett can run. He's mobile. I don't know what they were making a big deal about his hand size, even though if you watch his games, he does not play without gloves. He's kind of like two-glove Teddy. All right. He needs those, he needs those gloves and
rip the ball.
In Pittsburgh, the inclement weather, but
it's cold and windy.
But he's played college ball there.
That's
so
true.
He's used to it.
That's true.
And I think he's a solid quarterback. He has mobility. He has decent arm strength. He's going into a situation where he has a plethora of weapons. We're talking about Najee, Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool. Now they picked up George Pickett in the third round, third round, whichever they did. So I think given his running ability, his mobility, and just the roster he has, Kenny Pickett, you could see Kenny Pickett if he could beat out Mitchell Trubisky at a training camp, and he could start the season as Pittsburgh's QB1. Now, what that says, he's still a rookie. He's still going to have learning curves. You understand? So you got to take that for what it is. But his rushing, it's going to keep him up there, depending on what his passing is. It's going to keep him in a conversation of where you may be able to pick up Kenny Pickett, and sit him a couple of years. And I think he could end up being a good quarterback.
Yeah, and a one QB league, definitely you can hold him and sit him. But, 2 QB or even obviously super flex, then that's a great pick. But, I like him in Pittsburgh, like you said, ton of weapons there. So he's just obviously just in a good situation, very good situation there.
And he can play right now. He can come in and play right now.
Yeah. But that is everybody in the first round of the draft. But we're also going to talk about the 2 trades that happened. And we'll start with the AJ Brown to the Eagles. Okay. So AJ Brown gets traded to the Eagles, becomes their obviously number 1 receiver there. Just takes a massive hit in Dynasty for me. I don't like it. I don't know how you.
It's not massive. It's not massive.
I think just the way, obviously. Okay, so Jalen Hurts threw 16 touchdowns last year, right? Passing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And
who
can
was
we,
his
pull
receivers?
Up, can we pull up AJ Brown's numbers? It don't matter who his receivers were. He can't throw.
Name another receiver other than Devontae Smith on
doesn't matter.
Philadelphia.
It does. Smith, but they stopped throwing the football, so they started heavily running the football after the first few weeks. Okay, they're turned into a run-first offense. So AJ Brown is not going to have the same amount of opportunities that he had. And for me, most importantly, is he's a touchdown-dependent wide receiver. He's not going to if this guy's throwing 16 to 20 touchdowns, what's the chances that A.J. Brown is catching 10 to 12 of them? It's just not that high. He doesn't, throw the ball in the red zone like that. He's just running the football. So I don't like it for A.J. Brown at all. But go ahead, Bagala. Tell us why you like it.
I think A.J. Brown makes Jalen Hurts better. AJ Brown is that type of receiver, that type of talent. When you get him, he's going to make your quarterback better. And you can't name another receiver on that team. They had Devontae Smith. And say what you want. He was a top pick, number 6 pick last year. He's miniature. And he's not, and yes, I'm not going to say Jalen Hurts doesn't struggle with accuracy. He does, but A.J. Brown is one of those guys that could help him with that. I think it elevates. He does take a hit, but I'm not going to say massive. And it also elevates Jalen Hurts a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? I could see Jalen Hurts this year. If he threw 16 last year, I can see him throwing 25 this year because he has A.J. Brown. You know what I'm saying? And A.J. Brown is one of those guys that if he gets the ball in the open field, how many times have we seen his stat line be, 4 for $113, or 4 for 100 yards and a touchdown? He's one of those guys that he's a threat when he gets the ball in his hands to take it to the house. And I just think he takes a hit. I'm with you on that. But it's not massive. I don't think it's massive. You know what I'm saying? How many touchdowns did he have last year? Polish is pulling it up right now.
I think he had 5 or 6.
5 or 6, but he was also injured. I think that is the most important thing with A.J. Brown. When you draft him or if you have him on this team, is he going to stay healthy? Because it's not like he's tearing a knee up or anything like that. He's having these little soft tissue injuries, these hamstrings, things like that, and it's keeping him out for 4 games. You know what I'm saying? So I think with A.J. Brown, that's the most important thing. I don't think his stock takes a massive hit like that.
I'm kind of on
small, yes.
I'm kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum, man. I think it takes a massive is a strong word to me.
Exactly.
I'd rather use the word significant.
Okay, it took a big significant hit.
It'll take a significant hit just from the standpoint of, you know, we'll all agree that Ryan Tannehill is not Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes or any of those guys, right? But he provided stability at quarterback. I said this when we brought up the Treylon Burks pick, that Tannehill was a stable quarterback. You knew what you were going to get. You were going to get good pocket passing, some accuracy. He was able to hit him on the deep ball. So for A.J. Brown, he goes to a completely different quarterback situation, Jalen Hurts, number one, is unproven as a passer. He likes to tuck the ball and run a lot. That's probably one of his first instincts when he drops back and his first option isn't there. Now, granted, A.J. Brown will be the first option. I'll give you that. But I think his deficiencies as an accurate, consistent passer from the pocket is going to limit A.J. Brown's upside. If he finishes as a top 20 receiver, I'll be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I have him still in my top 20. But like you were saying, I mean, it's just not a good situation. So for me, obviously, efficiency and opportunity are what we are looking at in fantasy, right?
Yep.
And you know, now that he is there in Philly, it's just I hate it. I don't like it.
And there's some,
but again, what makes A.J. Brown a top 10 wide receiver? 70 catches, 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, pretty much, if you look at his receiving, right? If you look at his past few years, right? So that's what I'm saying. If he's not going to see the same amount of targets, or even if he does, his touchdown production is not going to be the same. There's no way. I
think he can get 10 touchdowns. I think he can get 8 to 10 touchdowns.
Jalen Hurts barely threw 10 touchdowns in total last year, is all I'm saying. Simple math is that it's not going to happen.
It's limited.
Can it happen? Yes, but the chances for me are not
but
like.
Also take this in consideration. Jalen Hurts has already developed a rapport with Devontae Smith. No matter how up and down Devontae Smith's production was, he's already have a rapport with him. And don't forget, Dallas Goedert is a heck of a tight end.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, Dallas Goedert, I'm not saying he's more valuable than A.J. Brown, but I think Dallas Goedert will deliver more consistent production just because he's a more short to intermediate pass catcher, where Jalen Hurts' accuracy doesn't really affect, it won't really be affected if you're throwing short to intermediate routes. So I like the trio of receivers from a name and an ability standpoint, but Jalen Hurts' inconsistency as an accurate passer really scares me if I'm talking about having A.J. Brown as my wide receiver one, because let's face it, his talent says wide receiver one. But
why is Goddard good on short to intermediate routes? Let's break that down. Why is Goddard good at catching the ball on short to intermediate routes?
Well, number one, he's a tight end. He's a big physical tight end. That's really, we're not talking with tight ends don't run go routes.
But you're making my point, because A.J. Brown is also a big physical guy who can catch those slants, those underneath, those things in the middle. It's not, you're not going to ask if your quarterback is has a problem throwing the ball deep and things like that. Yes, you want to go up top, but that's kind of why it was inconsistent with Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith is that stretch the field, down the field receiver. He it's hard for him to, consistently beat press man coverage, because he has the speed to go downfield. You got to let him open it up. A.J. Brown, you're not going to jam him at the line. All right. He's big, he's physical. And that's why I feel like he doesn't take that big of a hit, just because of the type of receiver he is. Yes, he's fast, he's big, he goes down the field. I mean, he's fast, he can go down the field, but he can get that work in the middle. And I think he's going to help Hurts a lot.
I'm not.
Yeah, I think I'll help him too. But,
I agree, and in theory, he should help him, right? He's a wide receiver one talent, wide receiver one, type of guy. But as Blanc said, Jalen Hurts played 15 games, only threw 16 touchdowns. How much more of an uptick? 20, 22, 23? Is that?
Yeah, but that also maybe I think he can go. He can go a little bit, but you got to understand also they had one target. I mean, they had one. It was Devontae Smith. You know what I'm saying? You bring
I'm not buying all that, but
you bring in bona fide number one in there. It changes the aspect and it changes the dynamic of the offense that you can run now.
well,
Listen.
one other big part of it that I want to throw in there is that they ain't got no Derrick Henry. There ain't no 8-man boxes, one-on-one outside coverage on AJ Brown now. There's going to be more coverage, loaded that way as well. And I mean,
You can do that if you want.
I don't see him throwing fades at the goal line to nobody. I don't know. It's going to be tough for AJ Brown to score touchdowns. That's my biggest concern because that's what scores the fantasy points, and that's what we're talking about.
And I agree with that because around the goal line, Jalen Hurts will run the ball. So how many touchdowns is AJ? How many goal line or red zone targets is going to be vultured because Jalen Hurts tucks and runs it?
Mm-hmm.
At least
natural. He's a young quarterback. You don't want to, make a mistake. It's
right.
Natural.
I realistically, I could see AJ Brown getting vultured at least by 3 or 4 touchdowns just because Jalen Hurts tucks and runs it, as opposed to throwing a fade.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, but also I just think down there in the red zone, that his number is up. Everybody knows now that Jalen Hurts wants to tuck it and run it. So, you're gonna commit an extra guy to him now. You got to keep a spy when you're down there inside the 20s, because if you don't, he's gonna run it in. And with that spy, it's gonna be real hard to double somebody if you're keeping an extra person.
I feel like it's one of those. I feel like it's one of those what came first, the chicken or the egg kind of deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're like, you could really see it from both sides. But like I said,
you can.
I just think that
yeah.
unless Jalen Hurts becomes a 65% completion, or you see that accuracy, like you said, the slants, okay, I could live with that. The quick routes, the short hitch routes, like, listen, I could live with that, but over the course of a full season, I don't know if that's going to pan out to what you would think it would be. And to swing it back to a fantasy perspective, I don't know if you can count, and I guess this is what it boils down to. Can you count on AJ Brown giving you wide receiver one production?
No, for me, he's a wide receiver two.
That's the question.
For me, he's a wide receiver two now.
I agree.
That's just how I have him. It's just a percentage game. It's just simple math, basically. But when you think about it, I'll take the under. I don't think he'll be, what he was. I think his ceiling is capped. Basically, is the main thing. His ceiling is capped as to what he can basically be now.
Also, too, the health factor, right?
The health factor is more of what I'm worried about. But like Steve, you say he's an 8 to 10 touchdown guy now. Now you're saying with him, and you're telling me AJ Brown's going to score 3 touchdowns next year? This is what you're telling me?
I don't think he's scoring 10 touchdowns. That's what I'm telling you.
Split the difference.
You're saying
7?
I'm saying I'll take the under on a 10 touchdown performance.
I'll take the under as well. I'll take
the under on an 8 touchdown performance as well.
That's a push. I could see 8.
If he stays healthy. What did AJ Brown do the last couple of years? What's his stats? Is that up there?
Right here.
All right. So he's had 1,000-yard seasons, 11 touchdowns, and 8 touchdowns. What is his where did he finish in PPR?
Oh, I didn't have a sleeper up. I just had NFL because we were talking about the draft.
Let's pull up sleeper real quick. Let's see where he talking about, 1,100-yard seasons, 4 touchdowns. That's DJ Morris. That's top 20. That's just what I see for AJ Brown. Now, I don't see him in the top 10. I don't think that's going to be in the
But he's
realm.
never he's never been that guy. He's never been a top 10. You saw
Well,
his numbers. He had 1 year over 11 touchdowns, over 10 touchdowns.
We project AJ Brown as a wide receiver 1. And that's how we draft him, and that's how we look at him in the dynasty community. Now, not so much. We don't see him as that wide receiver 1 anymore. You know?
Well, you don't.
No, I don't. I think logically you can't look at him as a wide receiver 1 based on, you know, the numbers and his chances and possibilities and his QB. I mean,
but if you look at his numbers, I think he's going to hover right around what he is. I don't see him dropping. You're talking, look at his numbers. He barely scratched 1,000 for two years.
I'm saying. And he had all that high ceiling with a great QB and a great situation. Now he goes into a bad situation with a worse QB. How can his numbers get better is the main thing. Or how
because he is the weapon. In Tennessee, he wasn't the weapon.
I disagree with that.
He was Derrick Henry. Because you have Derrick Henry and you got everybody loading the box on that, and AJ Brown is able to catch a slant and take it to the house because there's nobody in the back. Now that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I disagree with that. I mean, I think as much as they ran the ball in Tennessee, I think the same sort of applies to Philadelphia. Now, like I said, they have 3 primary receiving options: AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert. Now,
so what? Go ahead.
Now, the ceiling, there's so many different layers because, like I said, I don't think Jalen Hurts is as good or an accurate a quarterback. He's a little more dynamic, but I don't think he's as good and accurate a quarterback as Ryan Tannehill. And they played together for a couple of years. So there's something to be said about a little bit of rapport with the guy you've been throwing to for 3 years, right? So that's number one. And number two, as we said before, I think he's going to get vultured a little bit by the rushing of Jalen Hurts.
I just looking at his stats and saying he's going to take a hit. If he takes a hit, then we're talking about AJ Brown being having 600 yards receiving and 4 touchdowns. That's what a hit looks like if we're going to take a hit to these numbers.
No, not 600.
I'd say, you know, I could see 70 receptions, 900 yards, 8 touchdowns.
But that's what he is.
Yeah,
if you look at these numbers, that's what he is.
That's wide receiver 2.
Yeah, that's not wide receiver.
But he's always been that.
His best season was 70 catches, 1,000 yards, and 11 touchdowns. Do we think he's going to put up 70 catches for 1,000 yards and 11 touchdowns on the Eagles?
I think he can.
If he was 12th in PPR, then he's still going to be 20, maybe even top 30. You know, when you look at it now with the numbers.
I don't see it, dude.
I don't see it either. Exactly.
I don't know. I don't know. I just think that he's that. I think he has that type of potential where he's not just gonna turn into a guy that's not getting the yardage, not getting the touchdown.
I don't think
he is what he is.
I think you're looking at AJ Brown in a vacuum, right? You're looking at him as an individual talent. You know Bagala better than anybody. First and foremost, the wide receiver position is dependent on a lot of things, as you brought up when we were talking about those rookies getting drafted. Offensive line play, quarterback play, you know, what kind of coverage he's going to be seeing. So I think you have to factor all of those things in when you're talking about what kind of production the guy's going to get. Because it's not just, if you look at a ton of guys, right? You could look at a ton of guys. Just look at their size, their speed, their strength, their athleticism, their route running, their this, their that. But that's not all it is. There's so many other things that happen before the ball gets to him. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think a lot of those things, there's question marks with a lot of those other things before he even gets the ball. So I think that limits his ceiling to wide receiver 2, somewhere in that 70, 75. And then also package in, is he going to play 14 games? Is he going to play 12 games? Right?
Yeah, that is the most concerning thing with AJ Brown, and it always has been, is that is he going to play? Is how many games is he going to miss this year? Me personally, I'm a Giants fan. I hate the Eagles, but their roster, they have weapons.
Oh, it's no doubt.
Devontae Smith on the other side. You're not gonna, you know what I'm saying, on the other side of him. Then you got AJ Brown. Excuse me. You know what I'm saying? Jalen Hurts is always a threat to run. So I just think they have weapons. They have their offense can be dynamic. And trust me,
let me ask you this.
Never cease to amaze me.
Let me ask you this. If the Eagles had Donovan McNabb as quarterback, would you feel differently about AJ Brown, about this roster of weapons?
If they had a Donovan McNabb or something like that, we would be. Yes, we would be. I would feel differently. I would feel AJ Brown is going to do more. Injury, staying healthy, he would do more what he's capable of
consistently, right?
Consistently. But I just look at this. He's done these numbers being inconsistent. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I just don't feel like he's all of a sudden he's going to be nothing, because a hit to these numbers means that he's a wide receiver 3. If these are wide receiver 2 numbers, we've been drafting AJ Brown just based off of potential and because his team was good, and that's why everybody held him at the standard of he's a wide receiver 1, which in all actuality he's always been a wide receiver 2.
Yeah.
If you look at the numbers, he's always been a wide receiver 2.
He hasn't played full seasons, has he?
No,
19,
and you can't.
Well, that's
19 he did.
Stays healthy.
Yeah.
He could be in that wide receiver 1, obviously, but that's his other issue, is that he can't stay healthy. So,
right.
But yeah. So that's AJ Brown. Well, let's go on to the other one, Hollywood Brown, going to the Cardinals.
What can Brown do for you?
I like it for him. Goes back with his running mate Kyler Murray. But what do you guys think about Marquise Brown?
I'm buying. I'm buying Hollywood Brown. I'm buying. If I can trade from, I'm doing it. He got D-Hop on the other side. AJ Green is still there. Arizona can run the ball. He's played with Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray, Marquise Brown is a down the field speedster. Throw me the ball, let me run underneath it and go get it. That's what he did in college. That's what he wanted to do in the NFL. That's why he asked for a trade, because that run heavy offense that the Ravens run wasn't benefiting him. They're going to get
not the type of guy he is. Not the type of
exactly. And he's going to be in space. He's going to see a lot of one-on-one coverage. And Al Davis said it the best: speed kills, and he is fast. He's going to get a lot of – I think Hollywood Brown is going to have his best season that he's had as a pro this year.
Yeah, this is really a tremendous pickup for Arizona, right? And you're looking at it as he's a better version of – I know they have Rondale Moore. He is a much better version of a Rondale Moore. And if you put him
different player.
If you put him as your number 2 wide receiver, you're in good shape. You're in really good shape. Now, is DeAndre Hopkins going to stay healthy? He's getting a little bit older. We detailed this a little bit in some other episodes. So I think this is a tremendous pickup. Don't sleep on the fact that Hollywood Brown played with Kyler Murray in college. And I think we're starting to see that as a little bit of a trend going around in the NFL. Devontae Adams with Derek Carr, Jamar Chase with Joe Burrow. Now you get Hollywood Brown with a Kyler Murray. I think it seems like a match made in heaven if you think about it, because of the speed. Kyler Murray can sling that football. We know that. So I think it's a really good pickup out of Cardinals. Pretty much really what they needed, another guy. And listen, I'm looking at Hollywood stats now. If he could put up 91 for 1,000 and 6 touchdowns with a banged up Lamar Jackson and Tyler Huntley throwing the ball, some consistent quarterback play. I know we talked about Kyler Murray before, but I do like Kyler Murray. I'm just a little unsure about him, but he looks like he's ready for 100 catches, 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns, 9 touchdowns, maybe a little bit more. If he's averaging, he's going to average more than 11 yards a catch. I'll tell you that right now. So
that's the number right there. That's going to go up to about 16, 17 yards per catch, just because you got D-Hop on the other side, and he's going to be working with a lot of open space in that offense, just because you can't not double D-Hop. You know what I'm saying? Even at his age, you can't not double him. You know, because if he starts going crazy, then it's going to be a long day. But you're just not going to be able to double any one of them. And he's just, I liked him coming out of college, and he's fast. He can catch the ball. And like you said, he played with Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray knows where he likes the ball, how he likes the ball. You know what I'm saying? How to get it to him.
The dude only is it me, or does it feel like he's been around for longer than 3 years? He's only 24. Like it feels like
he's young. If you are a Marquise Brown dynasty owner, you are
in good shape
right now.
In good shape.
And in good shape. And then on the flip side of that, someone else said this, so I can't take credit for the nickname, but Rashad the God Bateman.
You can't do that. I'm not accepting that garbage.
Now,
not on this podcast. I'm not accepting that garbage.
Into the wide receiver one role,
my
Baltimore, which I love. He's just that type of receiver that they need to take the reins there. And I love it. And I'm a Bateman owner, and I'm excited. You know, Bateman's
a different type of receiver than Hollywood. He's a lot more physical. Run after the catch. He can catch underneath. And that's why I like him in that offense. And I liked him coming out. And you know, he had a few good games. He was hurt in the beginning of the season. You know what I'm saying? So a full training camp, God willing, he comes out healthy. I think Bateman's explosive. I think he can have a nice season. I think we could see Bateman do a little bit something like Marquise did last year, where he'll have 80 balls, 1,000 yards. And you could, if you want to, you could hand Bateman the ball on some jet sweeps, and he can get some yards that way also. Very versatile. I like Bateman. I think it was by Hollywood getting traded. I think it was just a nice boost to what Bateman was, his numbers and what they could be next year.
Well, I think it shows how much they trust him or believe in him.
Absolutely.
Get rid of Hollywood Brown and not even take I don't think they took a receiver at all in the first 3 rounds. Definitely not the first round. So you know that's the other thing, and they haven't signed anybody. So that's what I like as well, is just showing they kind of trust him there. So
he's gonna get some work.
I will say this, Blanc, if you call him the God ever again, I will resign from this podcast.
Yeah, my boy Rashad the God Bateman, y'all.
Stop that nonsense.
No, I like his talent. I really do. I think he's another one of those guys who's versatile. You can hand him the ball on some jet sweeps and things like that.
Are we gonna see Lamar evolve as a passer enough to get him there, though? That's my question.
Well, being that it's only him and Andrews, I think it's definitely in the realm of possibility that he can have, a 1,000-yard season. I mean, I don't expect him to go for 1,500 yards, and
no,
nothing like that.
Yeah,
70, 80 catches.
I'm not saying he's going to produce wide receiver one numbers, but it's in the realm of possibility he can put up those wide receiver 2 numbers. We'll just, we'll have to see what happens. But that pretty much wraps up this episode of Draft Day of the first round. But we'll hit y'all with more episodes. Let us know what you think. Comment, like, and subscribe. But anyway, see y'all next time.
Adios.
Where is she? She's still in the house?